Hey YouTube, GeneralJSmith here, back with another comparison, and this time I've got the AT-AP versus the AT-ST Walker. Before I get started on this video, I just want to ask you to go back and check out my last video, after of course you've watched this one, and please leave down in the comments. It was a contest, completely free to enter. Please leave down in the comments your answers and you may win a prize. I'm trying to get as many people as possible to comment on that video, so please, after this video, go back, check out my latest video and watch it, and leave your comments down below. Completely free to enter and you may win a prize. It's just a bit of fun. I'm trying to get as many people as possible. Anyway, onto this video, we have the AT-AP set number 75043, ages 8 to 14, comes with 717 pieces and retailed for £60 or $60. This came out in 2014. I actually reviewed this when it first came out. Jeez, that was 2 years ago. Versus on the right, the AT-ST Walker 75153, ages 8 to 14, comes with 449 pieces and was retailing for £40 or $40. This literally came out like a few days ago or something. I don't even remember, like a couple weeks or something. Anyway, so here I am back with another comparison. Originally this comparison actually was going to be between the AT-ST and the AT-DP, but when I had the AT-DP here and had the minifigures laid out and all that stuff, I realized it's kind of a bit of a ridiculous contest, because in all honesty, the AT-ST is just significantly better than the AT-DP in many, many ways, to the point where it's just not really a contest at all, and that's kind of the point of these comparisons. I try to make them somewhat evenly matched. They are meant to be somewhat difficult, so it's kind of a debate about which one is the better set to buy. Now, of course, this is assuming you can get both of these sets retail. Again, this only came out 2 weeks ago, so of course you can get this retail price now, although I think you can only probably get this in very, very, very few stores or online, such as eBay or Brooklyn Core and stuff like that. That's more or less the main places you'll be getting these. Although this was fairly popular when it was out, mainly because back then the Clone Wars, I mean, yeah, it had cancelled, but it was still a lot fresher in people's minds, and there was a lot of people building Kashyyyk mocks and all the different stuff, and of course this was the first AT-AP since like 2007. In fact, this is the first AT-ST since like 2007 or 2006. So, yeah, so I just be kind of fun to compare them. That being said, let's go now. Again, this is not a review. The reviews of both these sets will be down in the description. Let's go now and compare the minifigures to find out which would win versus these two classic eras. Here we have our minifigure selection. Of course, as you can see, the AT-AP does come with 5 minifigures, whereas the AT-ST only comes with 3. Now, I understand this is a significantly more expensive set, so it's understandable why it would come with 5, but it should be said that these 5 minifigures, the only ones you're really going to want to get are these two, Captain Tarful, I'm sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong, I don't quite remember, and Commander Gree, who actually we did get in the Clone Turbo Tank very recently, but until that point, he wasn't exclusive. I kind of wish we didn't, although I guess it is nice if you didn't get the AT-AP, that'd be nice to get him again. Still, the price of him has now gone down. You can get him in other sets instead of the time he was exclusive. In fact, I recently bought several Clone Custom figures, if you have watched my channel, and I deliberately didn't buy Commander Gree because I thought Legos were so good I didn't really need to. Nonetheless, Captain Tarful is exclusive and a very nice minifigure. I'm glad we got him. Well, these other 3 minifigures aren't massively special. I mean, yeah, the Commander here is somewhat exclusive. We haven't seen one of him for many, many years, but you can find them fairly cheaply on eBay, and I don't really feel you need to buy many droids on eBay, because probably if you've got a lot of Clone Wars sets, you probably have a lot of droids anyway. Whereas on this one, we do have 3 minifigures. I kind of wish we had a 4th, which actually I didn't mention in the review. I forgot to mention that. Link to the review will be down in the description once again. Not necessarily another pilot, although it would be nice to get another pilot, because the AT-ST is meant to have 2 pilots, obviously, but there's only 1 seat, so I understand. Maybe another Stormtrooper or something else, something minor would have been nice, but I mean, the AT-ST itself is definitely worth the $40, so I would absolutely recommend it even with these 3 minifigures. These have ones, however, are a lot more exclusive, and mainly because this one, of course, is a lot newer, so a lot of these may come in future sets. For example, there's going to be a Rebel Battle Pack next year, so we may get another one of these guys or someone similar, and I presume this sort of guy, while he's exclusive for now, and while the printing is very nice, he's probably going to come in future sets as well, as what I expect. However, we have this guy, who I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, Baze or something, who, I just want to correct myself, in the review of this set, I did say that I thought this guy was of the Clone Wars character. There's meant to be a character in the new film based off a Clone Wars character. This is not that character, apparently. I'm sorry, I was wrong. If you've watched our review, scratch that. I was wrong. That's not the same character. In fact, that character's not come in Lego yet. I hope they really do. I've tried to stay away from spoilers as much as possible. I don't know. Anyway, that being said, so yes, this come in morph minifigures, but these 3 aren't massively special, and I think these 2 will come in future sets. That being said, I do think overall I'd recommend this one is better for minifigures. I think the minifigure selection, while it is not as large, of course, is better. That might be partially down to the fact these are newer and the printing is slightly better, and the fact these are more exclusive. But, I mean, what can you say, really? I mean, I would recommend these minifigures over this lot of minifigures right here, mainly because you probably already have a Command Agree either from this set or from the Clone Turbo Tank, both of which are sets that if you're a Clone Wars fan, you almost definitely got. You may have multiples of. Yeah, Tarful probably goes for quite a lot on eBay or Bricklink. He's quite exclusive, but, you know, still. But yeah, that's what I recommend for minifigures. I would say this one, you know, wins just about. But that being said, let's go now to the main part of this comparison, of course, these sets. Let's compare these walkers. As many people will agree, these are both great sets and definitely worth the money, and I would recommend both of them if you can get them. Although this one, of course, is from 2014, and unfortunately you cannot buy it in stores anymore. This one went for £60 when it was new, so it was more expensive, and even now, of course, you can't buy it in stores. You can only get it from eBay or Bricklink, although I do think you can get it for a pretty reasonable price if you want it new on eBay, because it's not one of those really larger sets which are going to go up in price. Nonetheless, this is not a review, so I'm just going to quickly compare them, of course, going through the features and a few other things. Just showing them this way, you can see there are some major differences between these two sets, not just the fact the price, but this one is significantly larger in terms of bulk. This one is larger in terms of that way. This is more like a cannon on legs, really, whereas this one is kind of more of a scout walker. In fact, if you're unaware, ATST actually means all-terrain scout transport or something like that. So this one's very much more of a lightly armored kind of thing for troops, or, you know, not troops, sorry, but like two small troops to, you know, go around the battlefield quite quickly and try to destroy the enemy, whereas this one's much more of a tank. And in fact, it's not size accurate, of course. Neither of these sets are size accurate to minifigures, but this one is a lot less size accurate because this one is meant to be huge, like really, really big, almost bordering on a troop transport, the amount of people it can hold. Although, of course, you've got this cannon up here, which gives a bit of scale. But nonetheless, it's a very, very large vehicle. So in reality, in like the actual Star Wars universe, it's kind of a bit of a debate about which one would actually win. Probably the AT-AP, just because in reality, it is actually a lot larger than this. But still, we're not comparing them, we're comparing Lego sets. So this one, of course, is, well, I mean, I suppose I would say you can use both of these in mocks, but I feel for some unknown reason, you're going to want to get more of this set, just because it is more iconic. Although, saying that, if you are much more into Clone Wars, you might want quite a few of this set. But the thing is, while technically, of course, you can use on many different planets, there's really only ever seen Kashyyyk, whereas this one you can pretty much use everywhere. I mean, of course, we saw on Hoth and we saw on Endor, but I'm pretty sure you can use it on many other Empire sort of bases or mocks, wherever you're doing. So I feel this one is more universal, but of course, again, if you're still into the Clone Wars and stuff like that, then you may want to get more of this set. Still, we've got the features here. As I said, the cannon, this one, of course, does not have a massive cannon on it, but this one does. This one does not move up there. I mean, of course, the actual flap to get the guys in, I'll just give you a quick view there. Of course, you can fit two guys in there. I mean, you're meant to be able to fit two guys in here, but, you know, we'll go into that in a second. You can fit two people in there quite comfortably. You've got this sticker on there with the droid gunship, which also came in that line. So I suppose you can move the cannon up that way, but otherwise the cannon does not move up. If you just take this thing off here, this sort of secondary cannon, if you will, does sort of spin around. It does not move up either, although the entire thing can move down, as you can see. That's a pretty nice feature. It's pretty nice. And it's got a lot of space inside. Not an incredible amount of space, but still pretty cool. We've got this third leg which comes down, which is kind of a statement of the AT-AP. These names, guys. Anyway, you can fold it up very easily. Of course, you put that thing as such, and it just holds it there. I mean, the third leg, if you're wondering, is meant to stabilize the cannon, because this cannon is meant to be extremely powerful, so that's why it's there. It's meant to stabilize the cannon. That's very nice. You've got these flaps on the side which also open up. It's pretty cool. They're kind of hard to stay open because they do very easily just sort of, you know, flat back. But still, we've also got this cannon down below, which is also very nice, and just other things. We've got these panels on the side, which are reasonably flimsy. You know, they're not going to stay on that well, but the same sort of thing as the ones in the ATST. You know, they're not incredibly attached on. They're not really sturdy, but still not the biggest issue. We've got a lot of stickers on the side. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there are a lot. I mean, I think those are stickers, if I'm not mistaken, as well as a sticker on there, and that's another sticker, and there's some stickers inside. Just a lot of stickers on the set because it is larger. This one also has a fair amount of stickers, including the sticker here, as you can see, and the sticker on top as such, as well as some stickers on the back there. As I said in the review, it does have Technic, which normally I'm not a big fan of, but on the ATST it kind of works because it makes it just, well, it makes it look like more an official vehicle, you know, they actually use in Star Wars. It just all works with the vehicle. Anyway, to put in the troops, or the troop rather, you open the entire flap, although of course you can just open this single flap, which is pretty cool, but you do open the entire flap, and you can put the one guy in there, which is pretty cool. I mean, again, of course, the actual ATST does hold two, but in all honesty, I am glad they gave us this sort of feature. I mean, I understand why they couldn't really fit two, because of course Lego does have restrictions, and I feel like if they want to fit two, they have to make it a lot larger, which would make it a lot more expensive, and thus a lot harder to get multiples of it. I do hope to get one or more of these one day, but we'll see what happens there. Of course, as you can see, the weapons are significantly less than the AT-AP, because of course it's a scout walker, and they're not really meant to be that sort of thing. We have on the top here a spring-loaded shooter. These come with green spring-loaded shooters rather, and on here we have two sort of red, well not actually red, but you know, like they came with red spring-loaded shooters as well. So that's very nice. Go on the legs, the articulation I said in the review, as you may already know, this is the only point of articulation, which is kind of annoying, but on some level I kind of understand. It'd be nice if they gave us more articulation, but still, on this one, it's pretty much the same thing. However, we have on the back here the main part of articulation at the sort of pelvis region kind of thing, but there is no articulation down here on the foot or anything like that, and that piece just came off. That's also another little thing about this set, the fact it's really easy to snap off, because a lot of these sort of not cylinder pieces, I don't know what they're called, you know, these round pieces here, if you're grabbing from underneath, they are very easy to snap off. So that's kind of a thing that does somewhat annoying. You can't really grab from the top because of course this thing just sort of flies open, so that's kind of annoying. Still, very nice sets. I suppose I would have to go with the AT-ST is the better representation of the actual set in Star Wars, just because it is more size accurate, whereas this one is entirely massive, although of course this one is a significant improvement over the 2007 or 2006, I don't know, I think it's 2007 one, so it's a significant improvement over that, and definitely a good one to get if you're into the Clone Wars. But that's the kind of thing, I feel this is the only one to get if you are into the Clone Wars, because even if you're a Clone Wars fan, you may have not seen this around very much. It was sort of in the background in the Battle of Kashyyyk in episode 3, but we didn't see it ever full on, and we never really saw it in the Clone Wars, so you're only really be aware of this, say, if you're a collector of toys or, you know, Lego, or if you're into the expanded universe type thing, then you may know more about it. But it's kind of one of those Star Wars Republic vehicles which you don't really see a massive amount of, such as the Republic fighter tank as well. So I suppose this is only really if you want the if you're into Clone Wars, whereas this one I think is more for everyone, so I suppose this is more universal and you can use it for a lot more things. Still, that is it to my sets. Let's now go on to the instructions that include my comparison of the AT-AP versus the AT-ST. The instruction manuals of both these sets do have quite a few differences. This one, of course, the AT-ST one, is significantly smaller, so you can see the significant differences they have made in the last 2.5 years of LEGO. This one, although I will say is a significantly smaller set, ergo it's understandable why the instruction manual itself would be smaller. On the back we have the wind thing, of course, and we have the inventory, can't even think of the words now. We have the Force Awakens game, which is pretty cool. I showed this all in the review, so I'm not going to go through it too well, as well as the thing for the, you know, online app or whatever it is, and all the sets from that line. I reviewed all of them apart from those two. I think I've talked about why I haven't reviewed them, and if I haven't, then I'll talk about them soon. We have all the minifigures from that line as well, all of which are pretty nice. And in the back here we just go, we have 161 steps of building and 91 pages, which is pretty nice. This build, from what I remember, took about an hour to do, which is, you know, pretty alright for a set of this size. Of course, the AT-AP, as I assume, did take longer. This one came with 2 instruction manuals, which is actually quite odd. I mean, usually it's the really big sets, like the Star Destroyers, which have like 2 instruction manuals. So it's a little odd that a set this small did have 2, but nonetheless, it did have them. On the back of the first one, the usual wind thing, and all the sets from the 2014 winter line, all of which I think I reviewed. Yeah, I reviewed every single one of these. In fact, I think the 2014 winter line was one of the very few lines where I did all the sets. Anyway, we have the Lego Star Wars thing on the back, of course, and, you know, just here it says 43 steps, and, you know, just flip to page, sorry, not page 2, to the second instruction manual. Moving towards the back, we have also, it's crinkled. I've had this 2 years now. And we have all the minifigures from that line as well, very nice, as well as the features that I skimmed over basically. And we have the 2-page inventory as well, and we have 56 steps in the back of this one as well, which is pretty nice, and 42 pages, which is pretty cool. So yeah, overall I think I would say then this build, I suppose, almost took the same amount of time. Maybe it took a little longer, but it seems like there was roughly the same amount of steps, maybe even a little less. That might have more to do with like how building has changed in the last 2.5 years, but I don't know, it just seems like there was less steps in this one than this one, I guess. But either way, they're both fun builds from what I remember, and both of the builds you can also look, when you check the review, you can go down the descriptions of the reviews, and you can see the Let's Builds of both of these sets as well, which are pretty nice. But still, that's pretty much an instruction manual, nothing too special, although they are significantly different, but again, they are, you know, different sizes of sets, which is understandable. Let's now go now and finish my comparison, I'm losing my words, guys, finish my comparison of the AT-AP versus the AT-ST. Thank you for watching my comparison of the AT-AP 75043 versus the AT-ST 75153. As I've said a few times, both of these sets are, in my opinion, really cool sets, and I would recommend picking up both, again, for the 3rd time now. Links to both of these reviews will be down in the description. Please go check them out. I give my full analysis and opinion on them in those reviews. Still, this comparison, of course, is to choose a winner. If you could buy both of these right now for retail price, which, again, I know you technically can't, because the AT-AP, I know, does go for a little bit more. I'm not entirely sure, I haven't checked that, but it may go for a little bit more for new. new on eBay or Bricklink, or maybe go a little less. I don't entirely know. But which one should you buy, assuming you could buy both retail value? Well, that's a tricky one. I mean, again, of course, if you're a massive Clone Wars fan, then I would go with the 80AP because, you know, it's one of those sets you can use in several mocks. Not a massive amount of mocks. Like some mocks, it just wouldn't look appropriate. But a lot of jungle mocks, of course, Kashyyyk could be very nice. And the minifigures are quite nice as well. We've got Tarful, which we haven't got in any other set. And Commander Greed, which technically, yes, did get another set. But still, it was nice to get them at the time. And at the time, of course, the Clone Wars was just ending. And, you know, people were building Kashyyyk mocks. It was a big thing at the time. So I understand why at the time it was a lot bigger set, although now, of course, a lot of people are moving into Rogue One and, you know, the original trilogy and other stuff like that, so it's understand why more people would want to go for the ATST. So, which one would I recommend? Being a massive Clone Wars fan, I'd recommend the ATST as the better set. I know some of you out there probably are thinking, well, of course the ATST is the best. I'm sure a lot of you probably thought that ever since I started this comparison, you thought the ATST was going to win. And well, you're correct, but in my opinion, though, it was a lot closer than maybe people give it credit for. The ATAP is a really cool set. I mean, if you have it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But in my opinion, it is actually really helpful. And maybe it's the fact that I really wanted to Trans 7 one until, of course, 2014 when this one came out. Until that point, I really wanted Trans 7 ATAP, but I never knew if I was going to get it. Maybe that's a reason, and also the fact that I kind of already have an ATST. I mean, obviously, it's nowhere near the same sort of standard as this one, but still, despite all that, I'm going to say the ATST is the better set. I think it is a really, really cool set, which you can use for so many different purposes, and I think if you're, you know, into Clone Wars, or if you're into Originals, or, you know, if you're into both, then I would recommend ATST, because a lot of people do prefer it. It's just a freaking badass set, you know, please get it. So awesome. I recommend getting multiples. I really recommend getting multiples of both, but if you can only get multiples of one, which is understandable, because this is quite expensive, I would recommend getting multiples of this. It's a lot more useful, and I could definitely see myself getting like one, maybe two, probably only one more of these. Still, that has been my comparison of the ATAP versus the ATST. I hope you did enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching, and leave down in the comments any future comparisons you have. Please do. I would love to do them. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye, troops. Of course, the ATDP... Oh, wrong set. Of course, this one is based off the Clone Wars, whereas this one is based on the original trilogy. I mean, specifically this... I will feel...